Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, fractal Bitcoin. Welcome to today's Bitcoin news video. I'm Chris. Let's get right to it. Here's the price chart, and it is a green day. Green Day, hey, that's a band. But yeah, it's a big green candle today. We started the day around 66,000, came down to 65,000, and now we're all the way up at 69,000. We're just below 69,000. And this is the level, 69,000, this yellow line you see. This is the level of our previous all-time high from November 2021. And you can see we've sort of held it as resistance here, support here a couple times, then resistance again, then support here, now resistance, it looks like. But let's see if we can get over it and then back test it as support and then continue on the bull run. Anyway, or not, we'll come back down, whatever. I mean, we're not going to go too low, right? Some people say we're definitely not going to go past this wick here, which is like 59,000. Whatever. All right, let's move on to the first story. Well, this is the time chain calendar. We're getting close to the halving. The halving is at 840,000 blocks, the block height. Right now we're at 837,717. The halving is expected to be April 20th at 10:04 a.m., and I think that's Mountain Time. So right about noontime Eastern Time. And right now, sats per dollar, 1,451 sats per dollar right now, with the price being 68,936. Yeah, historically, Bitcoin's price has performed incredibly well in the 1.5 years after each halving. Of course, there's absolutely no guarantee that this pattern will repeat, but then again, there's no guarantee it won't. And here is the chart. You can see the halving in this first cycle, the block reward was 50 Bitcoin. Then it got halved to 25 and to 12.5 to 6.25. And now it's going to be 3.125. But you could see these dotted lines are the halvings. What happens after the halving? Whoop, a 92x. What happened after this halving? Whoop, 30x. And last cycle, which was a suppressed cycle by most accounts, right after the halving, 8x. So I think we'll get an 8x or a 10x or maybe even more because of the ETFs and everything. But anyway, that's what happens after a halving for about the next year and a half after a halving. So are you ready? Yeah, and it's been 500 days since Bitcoin hit the bear market bottom. And in 2020, Bitcoin went up 732% over the next 12 months from the same point. If Bitcoin repeats this, it'll hit $491,000 by April 2025. This is pretty exciting, right? Here's the last cycle, 500 days from the bottom to the halving, and then we went up 732%. In this cycle, the cycle we're in, we're about to end, from our bottom, 500 days, almost right to the halving, and now we're going to go. And so how much are we going to go? That's the question. What do you think? Put it in the comments. In terms of adoption, this is new news. Two major asset management giants, Morgan Stanley with 5.1 trillion in assets and UBS with 3.4 trillion, are racing to integrate Bitcoin ETFs into their platforms within the next 10 days per Cointelegraph. Gradually, then suddenly, right? This is what happens. So this is the adoption curve of Bitcoin over time. This is where we are now. Yeah. So look, more big guys getting in. And we're still in the beginning. We're still in the beginning. Look, just in, big banks are reaching out to Bitcoin miners directly to buy Bitcoin because of, quote, supply shortages on exchanges. This is from the CEO of Hut 8 Mining. Is that crazy? Banks are starting to reach out to miners directly. Well, hey, it's a free market. If they have some Bitcoin they want to sell, they can sell it. But they're not going to, right? Unless they're not going to. Most miners, I don't think would sell that way. I think miners, they have a very detailed strategy of when to sell and not sell, right? It's not just like if someone knocks on their door, and says, "Oh, can we buy some of your Bitcoin?" Sure, come on in. I don't know if it's like that, but yeah, and this is in terms of the ETF the ETFs that have already been approved. BlackRock is likely to flip Grayscale by the halving. So this is from the Rational Root, and you can see Grayscale's amount of Bitcoin they were holding has been coming down ever since the beginning of the year, January 10th. It's been coming down. They've been selling, and the dark line here is BlackRock. They've been buying, and they looks like these two lines are going to intersect on exactly the halving. Now, did they do this on purpose? Probably not, but anyway, this is just interesting. And then BlackRock, I'm sure they're going to keep accumulating. So, all right, this was a very interesting post from LinkedIn, of all places. I really do not like the LinkedIn platform, but I post stuff there, whatever. But this guy, Daniel Batten, very good article here. I'm not going to read it all, but this is a good one to read. I'll read the very beginning. First, he says, my first assessment of Bitcoin was speculative asset that does nothing useful but use lots of energy. Sound familiar? Well, what I learned was that it was only my ignorance and inability to imagine the lives of others living outside the West that had me believe this. Yeah, so I'm going to read this part here. He says, the reality is that Bitcoin is in the same pantheon as the smartphone and the internet itself in terms of its utility. But unlike its predecessors, it helps people in the global South first, the West last. So yeah, he's basically talking about how Bitcoin is so great for the rest of the world, the East and the South of the world, not the West, not Europe and America, everyone else, because Europe and America are very wealthy and affluent, and our money is strong. Well, in the rest of the world, their money's not strong, and Bitcoin solves so many problems. He talks about this in this article. This is a great one. It's a great one to send people, friends and family, who might not understand Bitcoin really well yet. Send them this, let them read it. This is a very good one. And in the comments of that one, by the way, in the comments of this article, some guy mentioned this documentary. It's called Immutable Democracy. It's about an election. It's about elections in Guatemala and how they were previously very corrupt. In fact, this is a guy, some guy from the government coming in and seizing the ballots. And they're seizing the ballots so then they can go back and then say that they recounted them and, the result changed. It's like literally blatant corruption. They're not supposed to do that. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is because in here, in like the last half or the last third of this video, which is only 17 minutes long, in the future, they're going to try to somehow do the elections and somehow integrate Bitcoin into it. And not Bitcoin itself, but somehow writing people's votes into the Bitcoin blockchain or something. I actually didn't understand it, but I understood some of it. But anyway, maybe you can read it or watch this video and understand it. But I mean, so many people for years now are saying we should do elections on the blockchain meaning using blockchain technology, not necessarily Bitcoin or any other crypto, but just blockchain technology in itself to do voting and elections, because we can make it transparent, without giving away people's names and social security numbers. It's the best way to do elections that I can think of. And so many other people are saying this, and Guatemala is actually, I hope, putting it in place and doing it. So good on them. Yeah, and this is Bitcoin miners hashing in Ethiopia. Yeah, look at this, a Bitcoin mining facility in Ethiopia. Look at all those miners, man. There's like rows and rows and walls of miners. Yeah, good for them. Yep, good for them. Now here is an article. It says, what are Bitcoin ordinals and an easy guide to create Bitcoin NFTs. Okay, I'm bringing this up for a reason. Trust me. But Bitcoin ordinals are like NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? You can do, and I don't know much about it, but I know that's what they are. Ordinals are like a way to attach an image or something to a Satoshi, and then that's an ordinal, and that's all I know. And okay, here's an easy guide to create them. You don't want to create them. Ordinals are a very highly debated subject in the world of Bitcoin. But, Bitcoin, if people want to do something with Bitcoin, you can't really stop them, right? So in that sense, it's okay. But the market is speaking, and Bitcoin ordinals are now being rejected by S-Coin exchanges. Yeah, here's an article. Binance NFT Marketplace axes support for Bitcoin ordinals. Trading of Bitcoin ordinals on Binance's NFT Marketplace will end on April 18th. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that ordinals are kind of stupid and whatever, not a great use of Bitcoin, but they were like the hot thing maybe like a year ago. I don't even know. But now you can feel the tide shifting. And so what do you think of ordinals? Let me know below. Here's a great quote from Max Kaiser, posted by Bitcoin Sapiens. Fiat money leads to war. Bitcoin leads to peace. Fiat money monetizes war. Bitcoin monetizes peace. Fiat money is hell. Bitcoin is heaven. Choose wisely. Yeah. This is all true. I mean, of course, though Bitcoin isn't literally heaven, but it's heavenly compared to fiat for sure. So thank you, Max Kaiser. And here's Wall Street Silver commenting on this. Look at this article from the Wall Street Journal. What's wrong with the economy? It's you, not the data. Many Americans believe that the economy and their finances are worse than they really are. Can you believe these people? So Wall Street Silver says, no, the data is mostly fake. This headline is part of the propaganda machine to try to convince you. People know what is happening to their rent, their groceries, and everything else that is increasing faster than their income. So this is like literal propaganda. And the mainstream corporate media, it's all propaganda. And this is relevant to Bitcoin because this is what they're trying to sell you, that, oh, inflation's not that bad, and it's your fault. Are you effing kidding me? God, get out of here. So here's BitPain saying, you either embrace Bitcoin and start winning, or you fight it and grow increasingly poor and insane. It has become clear that there is no third path. And this is what happens when you study Bitcoin, when you pay attention to Bitcoin for years. I mean, I've been paying attention since 2018. And I'm not saying I know more than you or anyone, or that have more knowledge or experience or wisdom. I don't, but I've just been paying enough attention where you can just see what's happening. It's not hard to see. You just have to pay attention. All right, here's a podcast episode I wanted to tell you about. Jack Spirko was on the Bitcoin Audible, and they talked about surviving the shift to a Bitcoin world with Jack Spirko on the Bitcoin Audible. I'll link to it. I've seen 3 different posts in the last 24 hours saying that this episode is awesome and that everybody should listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I will, probably today. But anyway, I wanted to let you know because, this is Jack Spirko. He's a beast and a legend. Absolutely. Okay, every time you see some news, especially from governments, appearing in your feed, remember this cheat sheet for critical thinking. Yeah, remember critical thinking? Remember when we used to just look at things and think about it instead of just adopting the party narrative and calling in anyone else who agrees with us, calling them a Nazi? Remember we used to actually think, well, here's the ultimate cheat sheet for critical thinking. Start with who? Who benefits from this? Who is this harmful to? Who makes decisions about this? Who is most directly affected? And all these others. What? What are the strengths and weaknesses? What is another perspective? What is another alternative? Where will we see this in the real world? Where in the world would this be a problem? Well, you get it. This is a cheat sheet. So when you hear something from the corrupt propagandist corporate news, ask some of these questions. And I guarantee you, ask some of these questions and their news stories don't hold up. Their argument doesn't hold up. Now, I wanted to post this because anarchy and anarchism is something people get wrong. Anarchy doesn't mean out of control. It means out of their control. So people think anarchism is like, oh, there's people in the street shooting each other. And no, that doesn't mean that at all. All anarchism means, or anarchy, it means that there's no one above me. There's no one ruling me. There's no one ruling me. It's just me, and above me is God. And there's no one between God and me. That's what anarchy means. That's what anarchism is all about. Anarchists don't want any authority figure or elite class or ruling class above me telling me what to do. We don't want that. We want to be free. That's what anarchism is. And so anarchy doesn't mean out of control. It means out of their control, the ruling class. We don't want them. Now here's Derek Ross. Let's get into a couple fun things before we end. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, but Lightning Goats is one of the coolest Nostr projects we have. You can zap notes on Nostr, and the zaps are used to fund feeding goats. You can watch the live stream on YouTube and watch your sats being used to feed these animals. It's so effing cool. This is real. I mean, this is a great example of something you could do on Nostr. So cool. Now here's the Great Canadian Halving live stream. I wanted to tell you about that. There's a lot of halving events coming up, so I'm going to tell you about a few. And I'm going to a few. This one is happening on April 18th, the Great Canadian Halving Party. It's a live stream with BJ Dichter and Tatum Turnup. Oh, yeah. So I'll link to this. Yeah, you can check out that. Here's the European Halving Party. This is in person in Warsaw, Poland, and this is happening on April 20th, although actually it's the 19th, 20th, and 21st, I believe. And actually they're premiering a movie, a documentary. It's called My Trust in You is Broken. Yeah, BTC Pay Server made a documentary, and it's going to premiere at the Bitcoin Film Fest during this halving event. Oh, there's the information there. April 19th to 21st. Yeah, so this isn't really released yet, but anyway, once it's released, this is something I definitely want to watch, this documentary. And here is the gang ready for the halving. Oh, yeah, you see these guys? You know, these are actually dogs wearing the arms, and when they walk, the arms move back and forth. You probably saw this before. It's just funny, right? It just looks funny. Anyway, our website is fractalbitcoin.com. Come here, check out all our posts, and this link on the top, click it to join our locals community, which is here. This is where we hang out and chat and have fun. And of course, every Friday at 4 p.m., we have the Bitcoin panel. I talk with a bunch of Bitcoiners. We just have for an hour, we hang out and chat. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching today's Bitcoin news video. I appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel and follow the channel. And I appreciate all your comments and feedback. Let's go. I love you all. And remember, I believe in you.